The Bakita Partnership for Education is a partnership of various stakeholders who care about the education of girls. And we respond to the crisis of girl education in Africa, ensuring that we bring girls back to school. And we have started pilot programs in a number of countries, Zambia included. Zambia was one of the first. And in Zambia, we're operating in Eastern Province, in Southern Province, Muchinga Province, and Northern Province, because we were told these are the most affected places in Zambia. So we're responding to bring back girls in school, but not just to bring them back, to offer them a type of education that transforms them, that empowers them to become who they want to become. And this is an African issue, so we go all out through Africa, collaborating with governments and other stakeholders to support the girl children. Our points of focus are threefold. Firstly, we ensure that we educate the girl and offer a type of education that empowers the girl. So to empower the girl, to give her freedom to live fully. So the first intervention is at the individual girl level. But we also care about the environment in which they live. So we try and ensure that we have safe schools, places where learning is possible, where growth and maturation is also possible, where girls, teachers, and everyone involved can thrive. And this also includes communities. So there is a program to collaborate with communities to ensure that there's a conducive atmosphere, not only in the school, but also in the surrounding communities. And the third level of intervention is policy, because we believe that especially the bulk of this partnership with the Catholic Church, which has accumulated years and years of experience in educating. So we believe that it's important for us to share some of what we have learned and the issues we see with governments, with policymakers, including leaders like ministers, to ensure that together we can think about policies that can support learning, that can support maturation, and offer a type of education that not only empowers the girls to be who they are, but also empowers them to go out and be citizens and change makers in the world. And one of the things that, Honorable Minister, you hear about regarding policy is we've mooted something new, what we're calling trauma-informed policy, because we are realizing that girls experience trauma, they experience emotional hurt, and several, and you can't teach mathematics to such people when they are traumatized. So even when we make policy, it must bear in mind the trauma. Education must bring in the healing of trauma.
We are not just sharing with the rest of Africa, it's to share for the rest of the world. We are just coming from the Education World Summit. We are talking about a girl child. And because people are lamenting all these times and that we are just to complain about a girl child, what are the practical examples have we done? Okay? And I was giving those practical examples to say that mostly in Africa, a boy child will be favored more than a girl child. If it is going to school, those who pay, this is why we just said across the board, every child must go to school without paying. And we realized to say that after we declared a free education policy, there was an influx of more girls in school, meaning that it was a girl child which was actually being segregated at family level. Naturally, parents would send a boy child to school, and then the girl child is left for marriage. So parents were not affording that. As you rightly said, we would never have more money, but that limited money must go for education. If you do not educate your population, that's the only thing that you can do. Any government, worth being called the government, must take their own people to school. You will never have metallurgists if you want to invest in mining. First of all, invest in those people who are going to be metallurgists or geologists. And what is that? It's human capital. You cannot have agronomists if you don't invest money into education. So where are you going to get agronomists or soil scientists? It is coming from the school. So whatever limited money that you have, put it in the human beings. You cannot go and invest in mine, yet you are failing to invest in the people that you see. So this is a shift of policy, and Africa must now start thinking that way. Because sometimes we were being told, don't invest in your people. South Korea, I will tell you, Zambia, father, in 1960, Zambia had the same GDP with South Korea. All right? After 30 years, the GDP of South Korea was 4 times. When you check the enrollment ratios, South Korean enrollment ratios were going up. Zambians' enrollment ratios were going down. Hence our economy. Today, South Korea has 54. We go into South Korea's GDP 54 times, yet we are the same. And what South Korea did was to invest in the people. They don't have the land, they don't have, if you like, minerals. Zambia has got so many minerals, so many square kilometers, which is arable land. But we have nothing to show about. All of you buy Samsung. It's because they invested in their own people. So we want to shift to say that if parents cannot afford, and this came out in the open. There's one district in Mufurire. Before free education, there were 48,000. Today, there are 80,000 in a class, in a district. Meaning that 40,000 were unable to access school because government had neglected. So we would rather shift that money, and I can tell you, it is my ministry which puts up the budget of our country, investing in our own people. They were used to pay for exam fees. We took over to pay for the exam fees, because what happened was that each time that we say that we go and pay for exam fees, if there was a girl or a boy, the parents paid for a boy to write the exams. So when we say everyone will write exams for free, we'll pay ourselves as a government. We had more than 80% returned for children to go and write the exam. So who benefited there is the girl child. So this is how we've taken care of the girl child, although the boy child has also been taken care of. But the one who was disadvantaged was the girl child. So we must shift policy to invest in our own people. Once we do that, then you have your minerals running, you have your agriculture running, you have your engineers running, you have surgeons. Mention it. So the shift for Africa, the way I see it, and this is what I said even in England. Me, I shifted. Of course, Afghanistan was complaining because government says girls should not go to school. That's the policy of government in Afghanistan. All right? But us, further, we had no policy of saying girls, but we segregated them out of our behavior. So we had no excuse ourselves to do that, because in Afghanistan, those Taliban are discouraging girls to go to school. But there was somebody who was fighting for the girls. And I understood her complaint, because last year we went there, she said the same thing. This year, she looked frustrated. I said, I get your frustration, because the world seems not to be hearing what you're talking about, a girl child in Afghanistan. And for us, and I said to everybody, us in Africa have got no excuse. In Afghanistan, it's a policy of government. But us have no policy of that nature. But we behaved like Afghans this time around. And this is why we said we have no option. We'll make sure that every child goes to school. Doesn't matter whether your father is rich or we are looking for are your brains. Also.
Actually, one of the main things driving our partnership is the word partnership, which is SDG number 17, and the creation of not just partnership but transformative partnerships. When you combine resources optimally, that's how you grow your business. It's not about the money you have. It's like Jesus is teaching about the 5 fish and five loaves and 2 fish. He told the disciples, feed them, just bring them together. That's what we're trying to do. And we in the church, like you said, we have a huge resource we are deploying of 40 to 60%, depending on which country you are in. If you're in the Congo, we are providing 50 to 60% of education. Zambia is about 40-45 of the entire education sector. And there are a number of schools that we're running that are doing well. But we can do even better if we partner not only with private sector, because private sector can bring in the capital, the financing, and other technologies that we need. But also with government, it's so crucial because government has scale, So that partnership is what will sort of bring the impact we want. And we can't just step back and criticize government. We are coming together, Honorable Minister, that we partner We see how already there are partnerships, because we have schools where teachers are paid, our schools where teachers are paid by government. And we can even do more. It's all for the benefit of our children, especially the girl children.
Yeah, like the father has said, we supply teachers to all the schools, especially which are owned by churches, for example, Catholic, SDA, and whoever. So when we recruit teachers, we also recruit teachers for them. It takes a leader to say, this is wrong. Do not disadvantage somebody because they are not your relative. No. Across the 30,496 teachers who were recruited, no one would tell you to say that somebody gave somebody some money. No, not at all. But they used to do that a long time ago. We said, we must start building society, starting with what we are trying to do ourselves. With that, we will be very contagious, not as a disease, but as a good, contagious moral fiber to everyone. And Africa has got the potential. No one would even, if we said, can we just do things which are right as Africa? All this, where we say that education is very expensive, there can never be an expense that you spend properly apart from education. It ends there. Thank you.